Hello friends, welcome back to the Tetrahedron chemistry classes. So guys, as you know, I have started a 150 brand new question series on coordination chemistry, and in this series I have already completed two lectures where I have solved somewhere around say 30 questions. And in today's class I am going to solve another 20 questions, brand new 20 questions on the various aspects of the coordination chemistry, right? And on this particular lecture I will be solving 20 problems actually, and this is my problem number 1. And if you read the problem, what it says that, okay, the problem says a coordination compound contains 5 ammonia molecule. That means a compound is having 5 ammonia molecule, okay, and one nitro group. It is also having one nitro group, and it is having two of the chloride atoms, right? And 1 mole of this particular compound which produces 3 moles in the aqueous ions. So in the solution you will have total 3 moles, okay. In the aqueous solution you will get 3 moles. To treat with this solution with excess of AgNO3, 2 AgCl has been precipitated. So this part is very important, right? This part is very important to solve question. And remember one thing, to precipitation of 2 moles of AgCl, right? That means if you want to precipitate 2 of AgCl, for this you will require 2 of the chloride ions in the ionization sphere, okay. Ionization sphere, you will require 2 of the chloride ion. And I already told you that whatever the ions are present outside the square bracket, they are actually considered in ionization sphere. So that means out of the 4 options which are given here, you have to select the option which is having actually 2 of the chloride ions in the ionization sphere. So if you check this, then you can straightforward write this particular example: cobalt along with 5 of the ammonia, 1 of the NO2, okay. This is the coordination sphere, and outside the coordination sphere you are having the 2 of the chloride ion. So if you want to write, or if you want to understand, this is your ionization sphere which I am writing as IS, and the part which is present within the bracket, it is your coordination sphere, and I am writing it as CS, right? And if you treat this with excess of AgNO3, you are treating this particular compound, 1 mole of this compound with excess of AgNO3, then of course you will have 2 of AgCl, because 2 Cl are present outside this bracket, and 1 of your this particular ion which is the complex ion NO2, and you put the square bracket over there, and then you will put 2 of the positive over there. So how many actually ions you are getting in the solution? 1 of this and 2 of this. So total 3 ions you are having, and this is what the actually your question says, right? 1 mole of this compound produces 3 moles of the ion. So these 3 moles are actually this one, okay. And so if you want to select, then your option C is the correct answer. Option A is not having any chloride in the ionization sphere, right? And similarly option B is also not having any ionization sphere. All actually you can see the square bracket are there, and only this example seems to be correct, which is having 2 of the chlorine outside this sphere. So this is the correct answer, okay. Now moving to the next problem. What it says that a platinum complex is there, ethylene bis ethylene diamine dichloro platinum, 2 ion is given, okay. And what kind of isomerism it will show? It will show the geometrical isomerism, it will show the linkage, optical, or both, right? So for this, see guys, you have to actually draw the structure of this particular compound. So if you want to draw the structure of this particular compound, so what you can do, you can put, sorry, I can change the color. You can put platinum in the center, right? And then you are having this example. What you will do, you will put two of the chlorine trans to each other, and ethylene diamine you will put here and you will connect it just like that. Then another ethylene diamine you will put in that manner. So if you check the structure of this compound, two of the chlorides are at 180-degree angle. Similarly, two of the ethylene diamine are also at 180-degree angle. So it's a trans isomer. It's a trans isomer. If you want to draw this structure again, so what you will do, right? Make this octahedral complex in that manner, and now place two of the chlorine at 90-degree, right? And when you have actually put it two of these chlorine at 90-degree, then obviously your ethylene diamine will go in the other positions, 90-degree, and here also they are at 90-degree, right? So this is cis isomer. Clear? So one thing is quite clear, it will show the geometrical isomerism. Okay, so geometrical isomerism it can show. Now check for your optical isomerism. Okay, so this is very important. I have already told you in my previous lectures. Transform is actually having the plane of symmetry POS, right? Sigma plane it is having. When the plane of symmetry is there, then your compound would be optically inactive. And how we can say that it is having that plane of symmetry? So for this actually I can delete this circle from here and from here also, right? Now say I am putting my chlorine here. So if you put a plane here in the center, say I am putting a plane here, and this plane is bisecting this molecule into the two identical half. This half and this half, they are the identical one. That means plane of symmetry is there. That means no optical isomerism. No optical isomerism. But in case of the cis isomer, there is no plane of symmetry, no POS, right? You cannot actually put a plane in any manner which will bisect the molecule into the two identical halves. And this thing I have explained in detail in my coordination isomerism in the coordination compound, where I have explained all these things. You can go through and check what is the how actually we can identify. So when it is not having the plane of symmetry, so it can show the optical isomerism. Okay. So this cis form is showing the optical isomerism, while trans form is not showing the optical isomerism. So you can see your optical isomerism is another possibility. There is no question of the linkage isomerism in that case, because every time if you replace the position of the two chlorines, they are always connected with the two of the with the platinum atom. Similarly, if you change the position of the ethylene diamine, again they will actually having the same position connected with the same platinum. So there is no chance of this your linkage isomerism. So option D is the correct answer, because both geometrical and optical isomerism are possible. So if I omit the remaining things, right, then option D is looking your correct answer. This is how you can solve the problem. Now moving to the next problem. But it says that, okay, identify the structure of chromium 3 chloride with 6H2O if 3 moles of AgCl precipitated. Okay, now it is again a very simplest kind of the problem. And guys, you have what you have given actually, see in that case you have given CrCl3 dot 6H2O. Okay, and if you treat this with excess of AgNO3, it is giving you 3 of AgCl. What it means that you must have 3 of the chloride ions in the ionization sphere. So for this you can rewrite that particular structure, Cr H2O times 6, okay, and Cl3 over there. So this is the correct structure. Only this compound can react with excess of AgNO3 to give 3 moles of the AgCl. So look this particular option, whether it is given or not. Yes, it is given. Option D is the correct answer. So in that case also you can see your option D is the correct answer. Now moving to the next problem. Okay, what the next problem says, these two cobalt complexes are given, and whether they will show the geometrical isomerism, linkage isomerism, optical isomerism, or ionization isomerism. So this problem is quite simple, right? So why the problem is the quite simple one? First of all, whenever you are looking for the different kinds of the isomerism, start from the basic ones, and the basic one is the ionization isomerism. And in the ionization isomerism, you can see here, this is the ionization sphere which is having the nitro group, and in that case this is the ionization sphere which is having your chloride. So change in the ionization part will lead to the ionization isomerism, okay. And since this compound is actually whatever the compound are given here, in that case they cannot show actually your other kinds of the isomerism, right? There is no question of the linkage isomerism. And again, since Ma4 type of the complexes are there, so you cannot you cannot actually this compound cannot actually show other kinds of the isomerism like geometrical and optical. So the correct option, you will write it as that option number D is the correct one, right? Both are ionization isomers, right? So these are the ionization isomers. So it is not isomerism basically. They actually the question asks in that manner, you have to find the isomers. Sorry, earlier I thought that we are looking for the isomerism, but the question asked the isomers. When the question asked the isomers, so these two are the geometrical isomers. Sorry, ionization isomerism, option D, as only ionization sphere is having the different ions, okay. Now my next problem, what it says, the two complexes shown below, what they are actually, they are positional isomer, optical isomers, or they are actually geometrical isomers or identical one, right? So this question is quite simple. How? You can see here, this is your A, this is your A, that means both A, right, A and A, they are forming 180-degree angle, that means they are trans to each other, okay. Now in the compound B you will see, this is A and this is A again. In this compound B also, both A and A, they are at 180-degree angle, okay. Similarly, if you check this part, if you consider this as ring, so this ring and this ring, they are also at 180-degree angle, and in that case they are also at 180-degree angle. That means they are identical compounds. They are not geometrical isomers. For geometrical isomers you should have the trans one, but they are already, say this is also the trans and this is also trans, because both the ligands ethylene diamine as well as your A, they are 180-degree each other. So there is no question of geometrical isomerism, right? And if I actually delete this, okay, so both these compounds are having plane of symmetry, right? One plane of symmetry goes just like that, and another plane of symmetry goes just like that, so optically inactive. Similarly, if you put a plane here, so this is another plane of symmetry, and if you put a plane from here, so it is another plane of symmetry. So when plane of symmetry are there in both the molecules, it simply means that there is no question of the optical isomerism. And for the positional isomers, isomerism or isomers, the position of the ligands should be different, but the position of the ligands are also different. So the correct option is the option number D. Now moving to the next problem, what it says that AgBr has the highest solubility in. Okay, now this question is again quite a simplest one. There is no need to waste much time in this particular question. you have been given AgBr, okay, and if you react this AgBr with NaBr, so there would be no reaction. Why? Br is common, this is also monovalent, this is also monovalent, so there is no change of oxidation state also. This is not possible. And same if you react this compound with HBr, again there would be no reaction, okay. But the only thing left is what? AgBr. If you react with this with AgBr with NH4OH, it simply forms a very stable complex, which is Ag NH3 whole 4 and the Br. This complex would form actually, and it's a very stable complex, right? And if you want to react with this water, excess of water, so the aqua complex of silver, aqua complex of Ag are not known or are not very stable, right? So your correct option is B, right? AgBr has the highest solubility in the NH4OH, as it forms actually your very stable complex. Now moving to the next problem. Optical activity will be shown by, okay, you have to select the structure which is optically active, which will show the optical isomerism. So simply you look for the plane of symmetry. The molecules which will have the plane of symmetry, they would be actually optically inactive. So this compound, I am showing only one plane of symmetry. You can check for another plane of symmetries also. And if you don't know how to check the presence of plane of symmetry, then you can go through my channel, write say group theory by tetrahedron chemistry classes, right? So you will have only 2 or 3 video there where I have explained all these things. I have not completed that group theory part completely, okay. I'll complete that part later on, but obviously you will understand how we can check the elements of symmetry in the molecule in the very best way by watching those videos, because I have used a website which Symmetry Oterbeen, which gives a better idea. No one can no other website and no one can give better idea than that, right? So it is very important to go through those videos. So for example, if I put a plane from somewhere here, say I'm putting the plane here. If you put the plane here, so this is the plane of symmetry. Why? Because when you put this plane, then this half, the top part and the bottom part, they are the same. So this is optically inactive. So I am writing OI, optically inactive. Now going for this particular one, again you can see if I put the plane here, so the two parts are same, it is also optically inactive, okay. Now moving to this particular problem. This problem actually you have seen in the last example also. If I put a plane here, this is plane of symmetry, this will bisect these two half identically. Again this is optically inactive. So the option B is the correct option. In that case you cannot put the plane of symmetry by any means. Say if you try to put plane of symmetry from the center, the horizontal line, so this is B, this is A, so they are not identical actually. So you can check the plane of symmetry, it is not having. So the option B is the correct option in that case, right? Rest, see, only option B is not having plane of symmetry, rest all 3 A, C and D are having the plane of symmetry. So your correct answer is the B one. Now moving to the next problem. Okay, what it says that rank the given complex ion with increasing order depending upon their Kf values. Okay, now this is again you can see very simple. Okay, so I'm writing Kf. Kf is formation constant. Formation constant. And this formation constant is high for stable complexes. Stable complexes, right? And generally the stable complexes are the chelate complex. Chelate complex. And chelate complexes are those complexes which have the ring structure, and ring structures are formed by the multidentate ligands. Multi-dented ligands. Okay, so what ligands you have given? You have given ethylene diamine. It's a bidentate. Okay, and then you have been given ammonia, NH3, and that NH3 is monodentate. And then you have been given EDTA. It is hexadentate. It was monodentate. Okay, so this EDTA will form the very stable complex. Most stable complex. So for this EDTA1, the Kf would be the highest Kf, and for this ammonia complex, the lowest Kf. So now we can check the options. In that case, you can see ammonia is having the lowest value of the Kf, and this EDTA complex, which is of nickel, all complexes are of nickel, it is having the highest formation constant. So option C is the correct answer in that case. Okay, and see, this actually cannot be your correct answer. You don't confuse that by seeing that NiEDTA at the last position. You can also focus on this particular sign, right? This is the greater than sign, which says that the bis ethylene triamine is the most stable complex, more stable than this one. It is not like that, right? So your option C is the correct answer. Now moving to the next problem. What it says, the problem number 10, the complex that can form D and L isomers. So what is the meaning of the D, L and isomers? D and L isomers, it simply means optical isomers. Optical isomers, right? So now you can check which compound can show the optical isomerism, which cannot actually. So just earlier, 2 or 3 slides back, you have seen the trans isomer of MAAB2 type. So when you have, say, I'm writing here, trans isomers of MAA whole twice B2 type. Okay, they are inactive, optically inactive. So this trans is optically inactive, right? And another complex you are having, CO NH3 whole 4 Cl2, right? You are having this particular complex positive over there. So it's an octahedral complex. You can put the cobalt in the center and then all the ammonia here, NH3, NH3, NH3 and NH3. Okay, and then you can put the 2 of the chlorine over there. So this compound, you can see here, this is also having a plane of symmetry, right? This is plane of symmetry. So this cannot show the optical isomerism. If you want to make the cis isomer of this one, so for cis, cobalt in the center, put any 2 chlorines at 90-degree angle, and rest of the ammonia you can put in that manner. Say this is NH3, this is NH3 again, this is another NH3 molecule, and this is another NH3, right? You are having this one. So this is the trans one, and this compound is also having the plane of symmetry, right? How it can have the plane of symmetry? Say this is what your cis isomer, and this compound, if I bisect this from here to here, or here to here, or here to here, this can be actually your option, right? You're putting it 90-degree chlorine, no plane of symmetry. Here no plane of symmetry, in that case no plane of symmetry. So this could be actually your option, right? But this cannot be your option, because in that case the coordination number is 5. So when the coordination number is 5, so you can put cobalt in the center and 3 of the chlorine in the equatorial position. It's a trigonal bipyramidal geometry, okay? And put 2 ammonia over there, NH3. So it is also having a plane of symmetry. This is actually the plane of symmetry. So this cannot be your answer, this 5 one, okay? The only option left is this one. This cis is optically active, as I have shown you, and this may also be your optically active, right? But in the answer key it is given that only this will show the optical isomerism, right? That means non-superimposable mirror image for this one. So I am not solving this particular one, how it is actually showing, whether it will show the optical isomerism or not. You please try to solve yourself. If you don't find the answer, then definitely in some other lecture I'll try to solve this particular part, okay? But correct option in that case, in the answer key is given that this is actually the correct answer, right? And you can look for this one also. If you are not able to find, then you can ask me, okay? Now moving to the next problem. For the formation, okay, so this question, see again it's a very simple question, not that difficult. For the formation of this particular complex from the tetra-aqua copper 2 ion, upon reacting with the ammonia, the formation constant K1, K2, K3, K4 are given respectively for replacing one water molecule in each step. Calculate the formation constant for this complex. Okay, what it says that, see guys, sorry, you have given this complex Cu H2O times 4, okay, 2 positive, and you are reacting this with say ammonia, NH3, and for this K1 is given, and that value is 1.9 into 10 with the power 4. And when this reaction happens, it will form, see, one of the ammonia will replace one of the water molecule, so whole thrice I can write here, and then I can put NH3 over there, positive charge here, and one of the water molecule will be replaced. And in the second step, again say you are reacting this with NH3, and in that case K2 is given, and that K2 is having the value of 3.9 into 10 is the power 3, and then it will form CuH2O, another water molecule would be replaced, so we'll have only 2, and then you are having the 2 of NH3, just like that. Put positive over there, and they have asked this, calculate the formation constant for this one. So formation, how we can calculate the formation constant? So I can write that formation constant with beta. This would be nothing but K1 multiplied by K2. K1 is 1.9 into 10 is the power 4 multiplied by K2, that is 3.9 into 10 is the power 3, okay, and if you multiply, then the power would add up in that case, so 10 is the power 7. So there is no need to solve further. Check for the options where actually 10 is the power 7 is given. So only this particular option. So option D is the correct answer for this one. If you multiply 1.9 and 3.9 also, then it will give you the 7.4. So this is how you can solve the problem. Now moving to the next problem, what it says, problem number 12. What it says that blue color of copper sulfate solution becomes darker upon reacting with the ammonia, and you have been given four options. So it's quite simple actually, right? Say you are having, so I can write it here. You are having CuSO4 whole twice. It's a simple salt, and when you dissolve it in water, it will form Cu H2O times 4. Okay, say I'm putting 2 positive over there, assuming that it is in 2 positive, and when it reacts with the ammonia NH3, this complex changes from aqua to the amine complex, whole 4, 2 positive. It is stable, it is less stable, so your correct option is what? Ammonia forms a stable complex. So option C is looking the correct option in that case. Okay, now moving to the next problem. Okay, this problem is important and you have to learn how to solve such kind of the problems. The number of moles change in the reaction of 1 mole of this aqua complex, hexa aqua complex given with 2 moles of the ethylene diamine. So now it's quite easy, guys. It's not that difficult. So you have been given M H2O times 6, 2 positive over there, okay, and then you are reacting it with 2 moles of EDTA. No, not EDTA, ethylene diamine, 2 moles of EN. Okay, so you know it's a bidentate ligand, ethylene diamine, and that water is monodentate. This is quite clear. What it means actually, it means that 1 mole of ethylene diamine will replace 2 moles of water. Okay, and since you are reacting with 2 moles of ethylene diamine, that means it will replace the 4 moles of the water. So what your product would be like that? So you can write M En whole twice, and 4 water molecule would be replaced. Then you will left only 2 water molecules in the ionization sphere, sorry, in the coordination sphere. 2 positive was already there, and plus 4 of water molecule H2O. And what is change in moles? Delta moles I am calculating. So delta moles is nothing, moles of products minus moles of reactants. Okay, so products, 1 mole of, you see 1 mole of this, 4 mole of this, that is 5. Reactant, 1 mole of this plus 2 moles of this, that is 3. See, it's simply 5 minus 3. Okay, so what you do, you put 5 here minus 3 equals to 2. So change in moles is the 2 of a change in the moles, that is 2. So option B is the correct option, right? So this is how you can solve the problem. And don't look the problem in that manner that ethylene diamine is actually bidentate, so it will replace the four water molecules, so the change would be 4. It is not like that. You simply write the equation and then change, then calculate the change. Okay, so this is how you can solve the problem. Again, it's a very easy problem, not that difficult problem, but you have to apply a little brain before solving such kind of the problems. Okay, now my next problem, and this problem is actually the theoretical part. So if you have learned this particular problem, then it is easy to solve. If you haven't learned, or if you haven't read that particular problem is somewhere, then it is quite difficult to solve such kind of the problem. But this problem is quite simple. I told you, see, iron, that is Fe, is in +2 form in blood. Okay, and when it reacts with the EDTA, so it forms a stable complex. It forms a stable complex that can be eliminated from the body. So that means complexation. And you know this EDTA complex with iron. So I can write iron EDTA complex. Iron EDTA complex. Since it is hexadentate, it's a chelate or chelating complex. So iron, in excess iron in the body can be removed by the chelation process. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Chemotherapy is used for the cancer, right? Precipitation reactions are different, which cannot be actually used in the body, and blood irradiation therapy is something different, right? So it's a theoretical question, not that technical. Now moving to the next problem, what it says? It says that the hybridization, the geometry of these two complexes. Okay, two complexes are given and you have to identify the hybridization and the geometry. So for this, guys, you can see here coordination number is 6 in that case. 6 cyanides are there. So it would have the octahedral geometry. So check the options where the first complex is having the octahedral geometry. So this complex is having octahedral geometry. Okay, in all the cases, first it is having the octahedral geometry, right? So you have to look whether it is D2sp3 hybridization or sp-D2 hybridization. Okay, so what it means actually, right? What is the meaning of that? In that case, you can see the iron is in +2 oxidation state, and iron is in +2 oxidation state is actually your 3D8 system, I suppose. 3D8 system. Let me check whether it is 3D8 or not. Okay. Iron 26, remove 2 electrons from here. It will form iron 2 positive, then it will form 24 electrons. And for 24 electrons, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6 and 3d6. Okay, it is 3d6 system actually, right? It's a 3d6 system. Okay, and this cyanide is a strong ligand. This cyanide is a strong ligand, and this strong ligand will force d electrons to pair up. And when the electrons are forced to pair in the d orbitals, that means you will have vacant d orbitals. And when you have the vacant d orbitals, the hybridization would be D2sp3. Okay, and remember, this is a trick also. However, I have solved very sequentially, but you remember, whenever your strong ligands are there, as in case of the cyanide, your actually low spin complex will form. Low spin complex means D2sp3 hybridization. Now check for the options, in which option actually the D2sp3 is given. So this is D2sp3, this could be your answer. This is sp3d2, this cannot be your answer. This is D2sp3, this could be your answer, and this is sp3d2, this could not be your answer. So you have to select between A and C. Now looking for your next complex, which is what? NiCl4 2 negative. So there are two ways of explaining this one. First of all, you can understand this Cl is bigger in size. So when, say, if it is forming a square planar complex, then the bond angle would be 90 degree between the two chlorine atoms. 90 degree bond angle between the chlorine and chlorine. If it forms tetrahedral structure, then the bond angle would be 109.5 degree between the chlorine atoms. So since there is electronic repulsion between the two chlorines, so these two chlorines are actually stiff as far as apart as they can actually. So they will increase the bond angle, right, to minimize the repulsion. So it forms the tetrahedral geometry. So look for the in which option it is given the tetrahedral. So if you check here, so in the first case it is given the tetrahedral, so it is looking like that your option A is the correct option in that case, right? This is the one way of explaining this one. And another way, if you want, then this cannot be your answer, right? If you another way, if you want, then nickel, in that case you can see here nickel is in +2 oxidation state, and when the nickel is in +2 state, it's a 3D8 system. It's a 3D8 system, right? And Cl is the weak ligand. Okay, when it's a weak ligand, that means no pairing of electron, because weak ligands cannot force the electrons to pair up in the d orbitals. No pairing of electrons. When pairing is not there in the d orbitals and 8 electrons are there in that manner, 1 2 3 5, 1 2 3 4 5, and then you can put 6 7 and 8 electrons. So no d orbitals are available. When d orbitals are not available, the only option left is what? sp3, which leads to the tetrahedral geometry. So this is how you can solve this problem. Now moving to the next problem, what it says, question number 7, the correct set of outer orbital complexes. So this is something very important, how we can solve this one. So for this to solve, right, you can see, so first of all what I'll do, I'll write the oxidation state here. Iron is in +3 oxidation state, cobalt is in also +3 oxidation state, chromium is in also +3 oxidation state, and again cobalt is in +3 oxidation state. Iron we have already done. In that case iron is in +3, cobalt is in +3, and titanium is in +3. Okay, so this question is actually quite a good question, and it will take 5 minutes at least to explain. So if I write for this particular complex, sorry, Fe H2O whole 6, 3 positive, and iron 3 positive is 3d5. It simply means 5 electrons, 1 2 3 4 5, and water is weak ligand, that means no pairing of electrons. When pairing would not occur, that means no empty 3d orbital. So it will form, it will use outer d orbital, and the hybridization would be sp3 d2, but not d2 sp3, as inner d orbitals are not available. So this iron is your outer orbital complex. Now if you want to solve for this one, so here I am giving you the very important trick. Cobalt in +3 oxidation state. Okay, in that case your ammonia would be the strong ligand, right? And you know, it's a cobalt 3 positive is what? It is 3d6 system. But strong ligand ammonia would behave as a strong ligand, so the pairing would occur. Pairing of electrons would occur, and when the pairing would occur, that means inner d orbitals, 3d orbitals, are available for hybridization. That means d2sp3 hybridization would occur. So it's a inner orbital complex. It's an inner orbital complex. So option A cannot be correct because you have to find the correct set of the outer orbital complex. Now moving to the next one, say you are having this chromium complex. So it's quite simple. It's a 3d3 system. Right? Chromium 3 is 3d3 system. That means 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3. Two orbitals are already available, so these two would be used in the hybridization. Again, it would be d2sp3. So this is also inner orbital complex. So this cannot be your correct answer. Now moving to the next one. For iron we have already done. It is outer orbital complex. Okay. And same is true for your this. If you see, in that case iron is 3 positive. Okay. And in that case iron is 3 positive. It's a 3d5 system. Here again it is 3d5 system. And this F is the weak ligand. And no pairing of electron would occur. That means the situation will remain as such. D orbitals are not available. And when inner D orbitals are not available, it will undergo the outer orbital. So option C is the correct answer. It is looking like that the option C is the correct answer, right? And similarly you can go for the titanium here. If you want titanium 3 positive, and titanium 3 positive is it is 3d1 system. When it is 3d1 system, only one electron is there. That means all the d orbitals, 3d orbitals are available. So hybridization would be d2sp3. So d2sp3 will form inner, and sp3d2 will form outer orbital complex. So the correct option is actually your option number C. This is how you can solve the problem. Now moving to the next problem very quickly, what it says: according to the crystal field theory, the d electronic configuration of the complex is given. Okay, so these two complexes you see here. I'll write here actually. Fe H2O times 6 and 2 positive over there. Iron is in +2 oxidation state. When iron is in +2 oxidation state, it means it is 3d6 system, right? And when the crystal field splitting would occur, okay, this is T2G, sorry, this was Eg, this is T2G, right? And you have to fill the 6 electrons in it. So how you will actually fill these electrons? Since this is the weak ligand means this would be low, right? And pairing energy would be high. So electron will not pair up here, and you know the weak ligand will form the high spin complexes, and high spin complexes means first you will fill the electrons in all the available d orbitals. If the electron left, after that only then you will do the pairing. So how I can fill the electrons in it? Electron number 1, electron number 2, electron number 3, electron number 4, electron number 5, and electron number 6. So what the configuration you are having? You are having T2G4 and Eg2. Okay, now write the configuration for this one. COF6 3 negative, it is given. That means cobalt is in +3 oxidation state. Okay, when cobalt is in +3 oxidation state, it is another 3d6 system, and F is the weak ligand. Weak ligand means again the same situation. So the configuration for this would also be T2G4 and Eg2. Now look, for the option where both the complexes are having the same config. See here you can see T2G4 EG2, T2G4 EG2. Okay, this is the correct one. So option A actually is the correct option in that case. This cannot be correct actually because all the electrons are paired here, and this pairing in the T2G set will occur only when we have the strong ligand actually, which is not having here. This first one is fine, but second one is wrong, so this cannot be your answer. And similarly, first one is fine, but second one is wrong, so this cannot be your answer. So this is the option A. This is how you can solve the problem. Now moving to the next problem, what it says. Okay, in the square planar ligand environment, the energy of the metals p orbitals raised. Okay, so what it means actually, say first of all you are having these three orbitals, px, py and pz. Okay, and say your complex is square planar. You are having your square planar complex. For square planar complex, you are having dsp2 hybridization. That means out of the 3p orbitals, only 2 will have the higher energy. And which 2 will have the higher energy, we'll see here. Say for example, in the center I am having my metal, and these are the ligands, and dsp2 hybridization is actually occur in that case. So if you see here, this is my plane X and this is my plane Y. Now your metals d orbital, say this is px of the metal and this is py of the metal, and ligands are also, see ligands are also approaching from the x and y plane. So these ligands in the xy plane, they will exert more repulsion on this px and py, and due to this repulsion the energy of the px and py would be raised. So your correct option should be px and py would have the higher energy. Okay, now looking for the options. Okay, option B is there, which is the correct one. Okay, this is how you can find the answer. Now moving to the next problem, and what it says. Okay, again it's a theoretical part. If you have learned the valence bond theory, read the valence bond theory, shortcomings of the valence bond theory, then it is easy to find the answer. And if you haven't learned this valence bond theory, then it would be difficult for you. Okay, so we can check the which one is the correct. VBT explains the mixing of orbitals. Yes, VBT says hybridization scheme. It use hybridization, and when it uses the hybridization, definitely the mixing of orbitals would be there. So this is the correct. So I can write C for this one. It fails to predict any distortion in the shape of the complexes from the regular geometry. Okay, it fails to see which incorrect statement actually, right? Incorrect statement I'm talking about. It fails to predict any distortion. Yes, see this is also correct, because VBT actually explains the geometry on the basis of the hybridization like sp3, dsp2, d2sp3 or sp3d2. Okay, so they give the regular geometries, but any kind of the distortion it cannot predict. So it is also the correct one. Third, the metal ligand bond in the coordination complexes is considered as the coordinate covalent bond. Yes, since we are actually considering the hybridization, so it will have the covalent character. This is also the correct one. So these are the correct statement, A, B and C. D, it satisfactorily explain the color of the, okay. So you know the VBT cannot explain the color of the complexes. Color of the complexes can be explained on the basis of the crystal field theory. So this is the false statement, and you have to look for the false statement also. So your option D is the correct answer in that case. Okay, now moving to the next problem, and this problem is what? Which of the following is not a square planar complex? Okay, so you know, for a square planar, complex you have to have dsp2 hybridization, and for dsp2 you should have inner, or you can say the 3d orbitals, and 3d orbitals would be available when ligands are strong, in case of the strong ligands. Okay, so in that case you see cyanide is the strong ligand, so it will force the electrons to pair up in the d orbitals, and the 3d orbitals are available. It will undergo dsp2 hybridization and it is a square planar. Okay, then moving to the next problem. Okay, see, these are the platinum complexes. So remember one thing very important. See, it doesn't matter whether you are having the weak ligand or the strong ligand, but if you have the say 4d and 5d metals, it's a trick. They actually form the square planar complex, because due to the bigger size of the 4d and the 5d metals, they stabilizes the square planar structure better than the tetrahedral structure. Okay, so this cannot be your answer, these two cannot be your answer. The only option left is this one, and this problem I have already solved. I have already explained in my earlier slides. Okay, nickel 2 negative, nickel 2 positive ion. Chloride is a bigger ligand. You can use any of the trick, like bigger size of the chlorine, according to the Vesper theory you can apply, or you can go for that it's a weak ligand, so there is no pairing of the electrons in the d orbitals, so d orbitals are not available, so obviously it will choose sp3 hybridization, and for sp3 hybridization it would be tetrahedral. So option D is the correct answer in that case. Now moving to the next problem, and this is my last problem, and this is my 20th problem, and what it says, the complexes with halide ions mostly are, okay, this is quite simple. They form the actually usually the halide ions due to their greater size, right, and greater size and their weak ligand nature. So halide ions are weak ligands. So when the ligands are weak, they cannot force electrons to pair up in the d orbital. Okay, so they form the high spin complexes. So option A is the correct answer. This is, again, you can see it's a theoretical part. So these are the 20 problems on coordination chemistry, and this was the part 3. If you like the lecture, please share the tetrahedron chemistry classes with your friends. Don't forget to like the video, and if you are a new viewer here and watching this video for the first time, so kindly subscribe the tetrahedron chemistry classes and go through the playlist of the tetrahedron chemistry classes, which I have exclusively made for the CSIR NET GATE and IIT JAM examination. Okay guys, so that's it for today. Thank you very much.